The Lord of the Dead, the Bone King, stands atop a mountain of shattered skeletons, his crimson eyes burning like twin furnaces in the darkness. 100,000-strong army of the living cowers before him, their swords trembling, their shields raised in vain. He raises one hand, and the ground splits open. From the abyss, a dragon of fused bone and shadow erupts, its roar shattering the clouds. The enemy general falls to his knees, weeping. The Bone King speaks only 3 words: bow or break. The entire army prostrates. But to understand how a spoiled, useless noble reached this peak of absolute power, we go back to where it all began, to a dungeon, a betrayal, and a very different kind of death. A young man named Kale, heir to the Viscount of Aldrich, lies on a marble floor in a lavish mansion, his silk robes stained with wine. Servants step over him. His father, the Viscount, sighs from a velvet chair. "You are a disgrace. You cannot cast a single spell. You cannot swing a sword. You are nothing but a drain on this family's coffers." Kale, drunk and lazy, only giggles. "Then send me to the frontier garrison, father. I'll die of boredom and save you the inheritance." The Viscount, in a fit of rage, does exactly that. Next, a carriage rattles through muddy roads toward Fort Dreadmire, a crumbling outpost near the Blackwood Forest. Kale, hungover and miserable, stares out at the rain. "At least the wine is cheaper here," he mutters. But the garrison commander, a grizzled veteran named Captain Heron, has other plans. "You want to be a noble? Then earn it. You will accompany the next scouting party into the Blackwood. Refuse, and I'll have you flogged." After that, Kale finds himself in a damp forest, surrounded by 8 hardened soldiers. The air smells of rot. "Just stick with us, boy," the scout leader, a woman named Sarah, says without looking back. "Don't touch anything. Don't eat anything. And for the God's sake, don't scream." Kale, already terrified, nods. The group moves deeper into the trees. Shadows writhe. Then the ground gives way. A hidden pit trap opens beneath the entire party, and they tumble into darkness. When Kale regains consciousness, he lies on a floor of ancient stone. Torches flicker along a corridor. The other soldiers are dead, their bodies twisted, their faces frozen in terror. A voice, dry as bone dust, echoes from the shadows. "Another offering? How delightful." A robed figure steps forward. A lich. Its skull glows with purple light. "You are in the tomb of the forgotten king. None leave. But you smell of spoiled blood. Weak. Useless." Kale trembles. "Please, I'm nobody. Just let me go." The lich laughs. "Let you go? No. I will teach you a lesson first. The lesson of true power." However, the lich does not kill him. Instead, it drags Kale through a series of stone chambers, each filled with traps and monsters. "You will learn to survive, or you will die," the lich says. "And if you die, I will raise your corpse and make you my eternal servant." Kale, desperate, picks up a rusted sword from a skeleton. He swings wildly at a giant spider. The blade bounces off its chitin. The spider pins him, fangs dripping. But just as death closes in, a strange pulse runs through Kale's veins. A blue light erupts from his palm. The spider freezes. Its body cracks, and from the cracks, a ghostly version of the spider emerges, a spectral servant, bound to Kale's will. He stares at his hand. What did I just do?" The lich, from a hidden balcony, claps slowly. "Interesting. You have the dormant spark of a necromancer, a rare and forbidden gift. But you are still a fool." Meanwhile, Kale spends weeks in the tomb. The lich trains him, reluctantly, in the basics of necromancy. Raise the dead, control the dead, command the dead. That is your path. Kale learns to summon skeleton warriors from the bones of fallen adventurers. He learns to drain life force from rats and bats. He grows stronger, more confident. But he also grows hungry for revenge. "If I ever get out of here," he mutters one night, "I'm going back to that fort, and then to my father's mansion." The lich hisses. "Focus. The tomb has not tested you yet. The forgotten king sleeps in the deepest chamber. If you wake him, you die. If you survive, you may claim his throne." Kale, now lean and scarred, nods. "Then let's wake him." After that, Kale descends into the lowest level. The air is cold. The walls pulse with a heartbeat of dark magic. He faces a gauntlet of undead knights, skeletal archers, and a massive bone golem. Using his growing army, he fights through. But the final chamber holds a surprise. The lich stands there, waiting. "Foolish boy, did you think I was your teacher? I was your jailer. The forgotten king is me." The lich sheds its robe, revealing a body of pure energy. I have been waiting 1,000 years for a vessel strong enough to hold my soul. You will serve as my new body. Kale, exhausted, barely has time to react. The Lich lunges, a torrent of purple energy aimed at Kale's chest. However, at the last moment, Kale remembers something the Lich said during training. Necromancy is not about raw power. It is about will. The dead obey, the stronger will. Kale does not dodge. He opens his arms. Then take me, he whispers. The energy enters him, and for a moment, he feels his soul being torn apart. But he clenches his fists. No, I am the master of the dead, not you. He reverses the flow. The Lich's soul is pulled into Kale's body instead, trapped, screaming, and then silenced. Kale's eyes glow blue. He now holds the knowledge of a 1,000-year-old Lich and the power of a Necromancer lord. He walks out of the tomb. The sun blinds him. Before him, the Blackwood forest shivers. The animals flee. The undead within the forest bow to him. He is no longer the spoiled noble. He is the Bone King. Next, Kale returns to Fort Dreadmire. Captain Heron sees him approach, alone, covered in dust and blood. You survived? Impossible. Kale smiles. I did more than survive. I evolved. He snaps his fingers. The ground behind him erupts. A legion of skeletons rises. Heron and the garrison drop their weapons. You're a necromancer, Heron whispers, his face pale. A heretic. The church will burn you. Kale shrugs. Let them try. First, I have a message for my father. I am coming home, and I am not coming alone. Meanwhile, news of the necromancer at Fort Dreadmire spreads like wildfire. The Viscount of Aldridge, Kale's father, receives a letter sealed with black wax. He opens it. Inside, only one sentence. I am no longer a disgrace. I am your reckoning. The Viscount laughs nervously. The boy is dead. This is a prank. But that night, the mansion's guards report strange sounds from the cemetery behind the estate. Bones rattling. Whispers. The family crypt opens. Kale walks out, flanked by two skeletal knights. He enters the mansion through the front door, his footsteps echoing on the marble floor, the same floor where he once lay drunk. Father, he calls out. I'm home. However, the Viscount is not alone. He has summoned the Inquisition. 3 priests in white robes stand in the main hall, holy symbols glowing. Necromancer, the lead priest declares, you are condemned to death. Your soul will be cleansed by fire. Kale tilts his head. Cleansed? I am already pure. Pure ambition. He raises his hand. The mansion's chandelier shatters. Shadows pour from the walls. The priests try to cast banishment spells, but Kale's power is too strong. He absorbs their holy light, turning it into dark energy. The priests fall, their souls ripped from their bodies and bound into his service. The Viscount trembles behind his chair. Kale, son, please, I was wrong. I was cruel. Forgive me. Kale walks closer. Forgiveness is for the living. You are about to join the dead. But at that moment, a massive explosion rocks the mansion. The ceiling collapses. A giant, armored figure crashes through, a paladin of the Holy Order, mounted on a griffin. Hold, fiend. Your reign of terror ends here. The paladin, Sir Aldrich, draws a sword of pure silver flame. Kale's skeletons shatter at the mere presence of the holy aura. Kale himself feels his powers waver. Sir Aldrich points the blade at him. You have defiled the dead. You have broken the divine law. I will send you to the abyss. Kale, for the first time since the tomb, feels fear. He retreats, summoning a wall of bone. The paladin cuts through it like paper. You are still weak, boy. You rely on stolen power. I rely on faith. Kale's mind races. He needs a new strategy. He needs more power. After that, Kale escapes through a hidden passage, leaving his father cowering behind. The paladin gives chase, but Kale uses the city's sewers to disappear. He emerges in the slums, covered in filth, humiliated. I am the Bone King, he whispers to himself. I will not be hunted like a rat. But he knows the truth. The Holy Order has paladins far stronger than Sir Aldrich. He needs to find allies, ancient artifacts, and forbidden knowledge. He remembers the Lich's memories, a place called the Necropolis of Eternal Night, a city of the dead where the first necromancer was sealed. If he can reach that place, he can claim its power. Meanwhile, the Holy Order declares a crusade. Banners are raised. Every kingdom is told to hunt the necromancer. Kale's face is plastered on every wall. He cannot show his face. He cannot use his powers openly. He becomes a ghost, moving through the shadows, eating scraps, sleeping in crypts. But he also grows smarter. He learns to disguise his magic as simple dark sorcery. He learns to bind souls without raising them. He learns to create phylacteries, small objects that store his life force. If he dies, he can return. He is becoming immortal. However, during his journey, he stumbles upon a village under attack by bandits. He could ignore them. He should ignore them. But something stirs in his chest, the faint echo of the spoiled boy who once laughed at suffering. He watches a child being dragged away. He sighs. I am a monster now, but I am not a monster yet. He steps out. The bandits see a ragged man in a cloak. They laugh. Another beggar? Kill him. Kale raises his hand. The bandits' horses rear up. Their shadows twist. And then, from the ground, the bodies of their previous victims rise, rotting, vengeful. The bandits scream. The village is saved. The villagers bow to him, calling him a dark savior. Kale feels nothing. I did not save you for gratitude. I saved you because I hate bandits. That is all. He leaves without looking back. Next, he arrives at the border of the Deadlands, a cursed region where the necropolis lies. The land is barren. The sky is perpetually gray. Creatures of pure shadow roam the wastes. Kale, now more confident, summons an army of skeletal riders. He rides at the front, a bone crown on his head. He is no longer hiding. He is conquering. The local lords send armies to stop him. They all fall. His army grows. He absorbs the souls of fallen generals, turning them into wraith commanders. He is building an empire of death. But the paladin Sir Aldrich is not far behind. He has gathered a force of his own, the Silver Crusade, 100 holy knights, each blessed by the High Priestess herself. Meanwhile, Kale reaches the gates of the necropolis. They are made of black iron, etched with runes that weep blood. A voice echoes from within. Only the true master of death may enter. Prove your worth, or be devoured. Kale steps forward. The runes flare. They test his soul, his will, his darkness. He feels the Lich's memories surge. He feels the pain of every soul he has bound. He staggers, but then he thinks of his father's face, of the paladin's sword, of the spoiled boy he once was. He laughs. I am not a master of death. I am death itself. The gates swing open. The necropolis welcomes him. Inside, he finds a throne of femurs. On the throne sits a skeleton wearing a crown of thorns. It is the first necromancer, mummified, still clutching a black book. Kale takes the book. As he touches it, the skeleton speaks. You have come far. But the final test is not power, it is sacrifice. Will you give up your humanity to become the true Bone King? Kale hesitates. He remembers the child he saved. He remembers the wine and the laughter. He remembers being human. But he also remembers the humiliation, the betrayal, the fear. He closes his eyes. I already gave it up the moment I became a necromancer. Take it. The skeleton crumbles. The book opens. A torrent of black energy floods into Kale. He screams. His flesh peels away, replaced by black armor of solidified shadow. His eyes become pits of blue fire. He stands, 10 feet tall, wreathed in death. He is no longer Kale. He is the Bone King. After that, he walks out of the necropolis. The Silver Crusade awaits him, 500 knights, with Sir Aldrich at the front. Aldrich sees the transformation. He draws his sword. You have become the very evil I swore to destroy. Kale, the Bone King, laughs, a sound like grinding stone. Evil? No, I am the natural order. The dead rise. The living fall. That is balance. He raises his hand. The ground splits open. The entire Deadlands rises. Thousands of skeletons, hundreds of wraiths, and a dozen bone dragons emerge from the earth. The Silver Crusade charges. The battle is cataclysmic. Holy light clashes with necrotic fire. Knights fall, their souls ripped from their bodies. But the Bone King is unstoppable. He crushes Sir Aldrich's griffin with a single gesture. Aldrich stands alone, bleeding, his sword broken. You cannot win, the Bone King says. I have become something beyond life and death. However, Sir Aldrich does not surrender. He pulls a small vial from his belt. Holy water blessed by the High Priestess herself. He throws it. The vial shatters against the Bone King's chest. For a moment, the holy water burns. The Bone King stumbles. His armor cracks. A flicker of Kale's old face appears. Aldrich lunges, driving a silver dagger into the crack. The Bone King roars. He grabs Aldrich by the throat. You have wounded me, but you have not killed me. He crushes the paladin's neck. Sir Aldrich falls, dead. The Silver Crusade is destroyed. The Bone King stands over the battlefield, his chest still smoking. He pulls the dagger out. He stares at it. A weakness. I must find a way to remove it. He turns. His army marches forward. The kingdoms of the living now know true terror. Meanwhile, The high priestess receives the news. She weeps. The Bone King is beyond our power. We need the lost artifact, the heart of the first son. She sends a secret mission to retrieve it. But the Bone King, through his network of bound spies, learns of this. He smiles. Let them try. I will crush their hope as I crush their champion. He begins his march toward the capital. But deep inside, in the dark recesses of his soul, the faint voice of Kale whispers, "You are still a spoiled noble, aren't you? You never learned to share. You never learned to care. You are alone." The Bone King silences it. Silence. I am the master of the dead. I need no one. After that, he reaches the capital's walls. The city is fortified. Thousands of soldiers stand ready. Trebuchets, holy barriers, and a dozen mages prepare for the siege. The Bone King looks at his army. He raises his hand. Today, the living learn to fear the dark. But as he opens his mouth to command the attack, a single figure walks out of the city gates. It is a young woman, unarmed, in simple white robes. She is not a mage. She is not a warrior. She is the village girl he saved from the bandits. She walks toward him, tears in her eyes. "Kale," she says, "I remember your face. You saved me. You were good. Please, stop this." The Bone King hesitates. His army waits. The dead stir. For a moment, the memory of kindness flickers. But he shakes his head. The good boy died in that tomb. I am what remains. He snaps his fingers. The army charges. The siege begins. Yet, in the chaos, the girl does not run. She stands still, holding up a small pendant, a symbol of the first son. She whispers a prayer. Light erupts from the pendant, piercing the Bone King's armor. He screams. The light burns. He falls to his knees. The girl steps closer. "You are not lost. I believe in you." The Bone King, writhing, sees his own reflection in her eyes. He sees the spoiled noble, the lazy drunk, the boy who laughed. He sees himself. He roars in agony. "Get away from me." He summons a wave of darkness, throwing her back. She hits the ground, unconscious. The pendant falls, cracked. The light dies. The Bone King stands, panting, his armor restored. He looks at the girl. He could kill her. He should kill her. But he does not. Instead, he turns and walks away, into the city, leaving her alive. The army follows. The capital falls. And now, the Bone King sits on the throne of the capital, the former king's crown in his hand. He places it on his head. The entire continent trembles. But he knows the high priestess still plots. He knows the lost artifact is out there. And he knows, somewhere deep, the girl's words echo in his mind. "You were good. Please, stop this." He clenches his fist. "I will not stop. I will become the absolute ruler of death." He looks out the window at the burning city. And then, I will decide if the living deserve to exist. Subscribe for more epic manhwa recaps. The next chapter reveals the secret of the heart of the first son, and the truth about the girl who refused to fear the Bone King. The Bone King sits on the stolen throne, the cold crown of the fallen capital pressing against his brow. The city burns beyond the shattered window. It screams a distant lullaby. He feels the weight of 1,000 souls, his army, silent and patient, waiting in the streets below. But even as the continent trembles, a single, stubborn thought claws at the edges of his mind. The high priestess. She escaped, and she took the lost artifact's location with her. He rises. The throne groans under his skeletal power. "I will not stop," he whispers to the smoke. "I will become the absolute ruler of death." He clenches his fist, the bones cracking like thunder. And then, "I will decide if the living deserve to exist." But to understand how the Bone King reaches this precipice, we go back to the moment he steps off the throne and into the ash-choked streets. Next, he descends the palace steps. His army parts like a sea of bone. A scout, a hollow-eyed wraith on a skeletal horse, rides forward. It bows, its jaw clicking. "My lord." The high priestess fled south, toward the sunken cathedral. She carries a map. The map leads to the heart of the first son. The Bone King's eyes burn with cold fire. The heart, the artifact that can command the sun itself, or extinguish it. He knows the legend, forged by the first god, hidden in a tomb that shifts through dimensions. Only the high priestess knows the path. "Then we ride," he says. "No one escapes death." After that, the army moves. Thousands of bones march behind him, a river of white through the blackened countryside. Villages empty as they pass. Peasants flee, but the Bone King ignores them. They are beneath his notice. He is chasing a ghost. The girl's voice echoes again. "You were good. Please, stop this." Asterisk, he shakes his head, rattling the memory loose. Goodness is a luxury for the living. He is beyond that now. Meanwhile, the high priestess reaches the sunken cathedral. It is a ruin half submerged in a bog, its spires crooked like broken fingers. She wades through the murky water, clutching the leather map to her chest. Her robes are torn, her breath ragged. She knows the Bone King is close. She can feel his presence, a cold pressure at the back of her neck. But she also knows the heart's secret. It does not grant power. It judges. Only a soul pure enough can wield it. She prays to the old gods that she is that soul. The Bone King arrives at the bog's edge as the sun sets. The water reflects the dying light in shades of rust and blood. He dismounts. His boots touch the mud, and the ground freezes beneath them. She is inside, he says. Block all exits. Kill anyone who tries to leave. But the high priestess is mine. However, as he steps into the cathedral, something changes. The air becomes thick, heavy, like breathing through wool. The shadows stretch and twist, forming shapes that do not follow the light. A voice, ancient, cracking, like stone grinding against stone, echoes from the altar. Who dares enter the tomb of the first son? The Bone King stops. His hand rises, and a ball of necrotic light flares in his palm. I am the Bone King. I claim the heart. Stand aside, or join the dead. The voice laughs, a sound like falling rocks. The dead cannot join the dead, little king. I am the guardian of the heart. I have seen empires rise and fall. I have watched gods die. You are nothing but a boy playing with corpses. The Bone King's jaw tightens. He sends a wave of bone spears toward the altar. They shatter against an invisible barrier. The guardian laughs again. Fool, the heart does not respond to force. It responds to truth. After that, the high priestess emerges from the shadows behind the altar. She holds the heart, a crystal orb that pulses with warm, golden light. The light illuminates her face, revealing not fear, but a strange, sorrowful resolve. Bone King, she says, her voice steady. I know why you do this. I know what you lost. But the heart will destroy you if you touch it with hatred. He snarls. You know nothing of what I lost. You and your kind burned my family. You called me a monster before I became one. Now you preach mercy. He takes a step forward. The guardian does not stop him. Give me the heart. She shakes her head. I cannot. It will kill you. Then I will kill you first. Meanwhile, the army outside the cathedral hears a sound like a thunderclap. The ground shakes. The bog's water ripples violently, and the skeletal horses rear back. A crack splits the sky, a golden fissure, as if the sun itself is bleeding. Inside, the Bone King and the high priestess stand frozen. The heart pulses faster, brighter, responding to the conflict. The guardian's voice booms. Two souls. One of vengeance. One of sacrifice. The heart will choose. The Bone King lunges. But the high priestess does not move. She closes her eyes. The heart's light envelopes her, and she whispers a single word. Forgive. The light explodes. However, when the brilliance fades, the Bone King is on his knees. His crown has fallen. His army outside is still, as if frozen. The high priestess stands before him, the heart now dark, dormant. Her eyes are open, but they are empty, pupils gone, replaced by swirling gold. She speaks, but her voice is not her own. It is the voice of the first son. You seek to rule death, little king. But death does not rule. It merely is. The heart has seen your truth. You are not a monster. You are a man who refused to grieve. The Bone King's hands tremble. He looks at the high priestess, at the thing she has become. What have you done to her? She gave herself to me. She chose to become the heart's vessel, so that I might speak to you. Listen, Bone King. The lost artifact you seek, it is not a weapon. It is a key to a door that should never be opened. Beyond it lies the void, the source of all undeath. If you claim the heart, you claim the void, and the void will claim you. The Bone King stands. His voice is low, dangerous. I do not believe you. You are a trick, a lie spun by the priests to keep their power. The heart's vessel, the high priestess's body, smiles sadly. Then come, take the heart. Prove me wrong. He steps forward. His hand reaches for the dark crystal. His fingers touch it, and the world stops. Next, he sees everything. He sees his past life, the spoiled noble, the betrayal, the fire that consumed his family. He sees the moment he died and woke in this world as a necromancer. He sees the faces of everyone he has killed, every soul he has raised, every kingdom he has burned. They all stare at him, silent, waiting. And then he sees the void, an infinite black ocean, where time has no meaning, where souls dissolve into nothing. It is beautiful. It is terrible. It is home. The heart's voice whispers, "You are not the ruler of death. You are its servant. You always were." He pulls his hand back. The vision shatters. He stumbles, gasping. The high priestess, the vessel, collapses, the heart falling from her grasp. It rolls across the stone floor, stopping at his feet. The guardian is silent. The cathedral is still. The Bone King picks up the heart. It is cold, lifeless. He looks at the woman on the ground. She is breathing, but barely. Her eyes are normal again, but she is pale, drained. You saved me," she whispers. "Why?" He does not answer. He turns and walks toward the cathedral's exit. The army outside stirs, as if waking from a dream. They watch him emerge, the heart in his hand. He does not look back. He mounts his skeletal horse. "We ride north," he says, "to the capital of the Northern Alliance. They have a library. I need to read about the void." After that, the journey takes 3 days. The Bone King does not speak. He holds the heart, feeling its weight, its silence. He knows now that the high priestess was right. He was not ready. But he also knows that the void is real, and that something waits for him there. Something ancient. Something that knows his name. Meanwhile, the Northern Alliance prepares for war. Their scouts report the Bone King's approach. Their generals argue. Their king, a man named Aldrich, stands on the battlements, watching the horizon. He is old, scarred, wise. He knows the legend of the heart. He also knows that the Bone King is not just a conqueror. He is a symptom, a warning. The void is stirring, and the heart is the only thing that can seal it or unleash it. When the Bone King arrives at the gates, Aldrich does not attack. He opens the gates. He invites the Bone King inside. The army watches, confused, but Aldrich's word is law. The Bone King enters the great hall. Aldrich sits on a simple wooden throne, no crown. "I know why you are here," Aldrich says. "You want to know how to use the heart without dying. I can tell you, but only if you swear an oath." "What oath?" "That you will not open the void. That you will use the heart to destroy it." The Bone King's eyes narrow. "Why would I do that? The void is the source of my power. It is what makes me the Bone King." Aldrich leans forward. "Because the void does not create. It consumes. Every soul you raise, every bone you command, it feeds the void. The more you use it, the stronger the void becomes. And one day, it will break free. It will consume this world, and you will be its first meal." The Bone King stares at the old king. The heart pulses once, warm, as if agreeing. He looks at his hand, the bones that are no longer his own. He thinks of the girl who refused to fear him. He thinks of the high priestess, who sacrificed herself to save him. He thinks of the burning city, the screams, the throne of bone. And he makes a choice. However, before he can speak, the ground trembles. A crack splits the stone floor. A voice, not the guardians, not the hearts, but something deeper, darker, rises from the earth. "Bone King, you have the heart. Bring it to me. Bring it to the abyss. Or I will bring the abyss to you." Aldrich's face goes white. "No, it's too soon. The void is waking." The Bone King grips the heart. The temperature in the hall drops. Frost crawls up the walls. His army outside stirs, agitated, their bones rattling. He looks at Aldrich. "Where is the abyss?" "Beneath the old temple in the sunken cathedral. The same place you found the heart. The void's door is there, but it cannot open unless the heart is used to unlock it. Then I will go there. I will close it." Aldrich shakes his head. "You cannot. Only the heart's vessel, the one who gave herself, can close it. She must be the one to enter the abyss." The Bone King remembers the high priestess, collapsed on the cathedral floor. She is alive, but she is weak. She gave everything to become the vessel. And now, the void wants her back. Next, he rides south again. The army follows, but this time, he does not command them. He is driven by something else, something that feels almost like fear. The girl's words echo again. Asterisk, "You were good. Please, stop this." Asterisk, he clenches the heart. He will stop this. But he will not stop until the void is sealed forever. He reaches the cathedral. The high priestess is gone. The guardian is silent. The altar is empty, but a note lies on the stone. It reads, asterisk, "I knew you would come back. I have gone to the abyss. Do not follow. The void wants you more than it wants me. Protect the heart. Protect the world. I will close the door." Asterisk. The Bone King's fist trembles. He crushes the note. "No, you do not get to sacrifice yourself again." He turns to his army. "We go into the abyss." After that, the descent takes hours. The cathedral's basement is a labyrinth of tunnels, each deeper, darker, colder. The walls are covered in symbols, ancient, pulsing with a sickly light. The air smells of rot and ozone. His army follows, but some of the skeletons begin to crumble, their souls pulled away by the void's hunger. The Bone King presses on. He reaches a door. It is made of black stone, carved with a single image, a son being devoured by a serpent. The heart in his hand glows, responding to the door. A voice, the same dark voice from the Great Hall, whispers, "You are here." Good. The vessel is waiting. She is almost ready to open the door. But you can stop her. Use the heart. Crush it. Destroy the key. And the void will sleep forever. The Bone King hesitates. If he destroys the heart, the High Priestess, the vessel, will die. She is bound to it. He will lose the only person who ever saw him as something other than a monster. But if he does not, the void will consume everything. He holds the heart above his head. His army watches. The skeleton's eyes flicker, uncertain. The darkness in the tunnel grows thick, suffocating. He looks at the door. He sees a faint light through the cracks, the golden glow of the High Priestess's soul, preparing to sacrifice herself. He makes his choice. Meanwhile, on the other side of the door, the High Priestess stands at the edge of the abyss. It is an infinite black pit, swirling with screams and whispers. She holds a small dagger. She is about to cut her palm, to spill her blood onto the seal that holds the door closed. If she does, the seal will break, and the void will be free. But she has a plan, a different plan. She will not open the void. She will enter it. She will become its prisoner, trapping it inside her forever. She raises the dagger, and the door behind her explodes. The Bone King stands in the doorway, the heart in his hand, glowing with a light so bright it hurts. "Stop," he commands. She turns. Her eyes are full of tears. "You should not be here. The void will take you." "Let it take me," he says. "I am already dead. You are not." He steps forward. The abyss reaches out with tendrils of shadow, wrapping around his legs, his arms, his chest. He does not resist. He hands her the heart. "Take it. Use it to seal the door. Seal me inside with the void." She shakes her head. "No, I will not let you." "You will." His voice is calm. "Because I am the Bone King, and I will not stop until the living are safe. Even if it means I become the monster they always believed I was." The shadows pull him deeper. The High Priestess screams. The heart pulses in her hands, and she feels its power. The power to seal, to bind, to trap. The Guardian's voice whispers, "He is right. He is the only one who can hold the void. He is already dead. He has nothing left to lose." She looks at the Bone King, the man who conquered kingdoms, who burned cities, who sat on a throne of bone. And she sees, for the first time, the boy he was. The boy who was good. The boy who is still good, buried beneath the rage. She raises the heart. The light explodes. However, when the light fades, the Bone King is gone. The door is sealed. The abyss is silent. The High Priestess stands alone in the cathedral, the heart now cold, inert. She looks at her hands. They are empty. The world is saved. But the void is not destroyed. It is merely contained. And somewhere, deep in the darkness, the Bone King opens his eyes. He is no longer in his body. He is a soul, floating in an infinite black ocean. And a voice, the same voice that spoke through the heart, whispers, "You are not the ruler of death. You are its prisoner, but you are also its guardian. Welcome home, Bone King." He looks around. There is nothing but shadows. And yet, he feels something, a presence, a familiar presence. The girl, the one who refused to fear him. She is here too, trapped in the void, waiting. She smiles. "I told you. You were good." He reaches for her hand, and the world above begins to rebuild. The High Priestess becomes the new ruler of the capital. She builds a monument to the Bone King, not a statue of a monster, but of a man who made the ultimate sacrifice. The army of skeletons crumbles to dust, their souls finally at rest. The Northern Alliance signs a peace treaty. The continent heals. But in the shadows, a new threat stirs. The Guardian, freed from its duty, whispers to the forgotten gods. The Bone King is gone. The heart is inert. The void is sealed. But the door can be opened from the other side. And the Bone King, he is not alone in there. The High Priestess wakes in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat. She hears a voice, his voice, whispering in her ear, "The void is hungry. It is feeding on me. But I am feeding on it, too. I am becoming something new. Something that will change everything. Wait for me." She looks at the heart on her nightstand. It pulses once, warm, golden, alive. The story is not over. Subscribe for more epic manhwa recaps. The next chapter reveals the truth about the Bone King's transformation and the secret of the girl who refused to fear him, even in the heart of the void. Asterisk asterisk. The Bone King's throne is not a chair. It is a mountain of skulls, fused together by black ice, floating in a sea of nothing. He sits upon it, his skeletal fingers gripping the armrests, his empty eye sockets burning with a cold, golden fire. The void screams around him, a constant, hungry howl that promises to unmake his very soul. But the Bone King does not scream. He breathes. He opens his mouth, and the darkness rushes in, filling his lungs with the taste of oblivion. He swallows it, and he grows stronger. But to understand how he arrived at this moment, how a spoiled noble turned into a necromancer, then into a prisoner, and now into a devourer of the abyss, we go back. 3 days before the High Priestess wakes in a cold sweat, the Bone King stands at the edge of the void. The gate behind him is closing, a shimmering tear in reality that seals itself with every second. He pushes his hand through the gap, shoving the heart of the world back into the mortal realm. It flies through the crack, landing at the feet of the High Priestess, who catches it with trembling hands. Her eyes meet his for a split second. She sees something in them, not fear, not rage, but hunger. A quiet, ravenous hunger that terrifies her more than any monster. Close it, he says. His voice is calm, almost gentle. Don't open it again. Not for me. Not for anyone. The gate snaps shut. The void swallows him whole. Next, the Bone King falls. Not down. There is no down in this place. He falls inward, his body stretching and compressing, his bones grinding against each other as the void tries to digest him. He feels every atom of his being pulled apart, then reassembled, then pulled apart again. It is agony. It is ecstasy. It is the first real sensation he has felt in years. He thinks of the girl, the one who refused to fear him, the village girl with the scarred hands and the steady gaze. She had looked at him, the Bone King, the master of the dead, the terror of the continent, and she had said, "You are not a monster. You are just lost." He had laughed at her. He had raised a skeleton from the grave right beside her, its bony fingers reaching for her throat. She had not flinched. She had simply knelt down, touched the skeleton's skull, and whispered, "Rest now." The skeleton had crumbled, not from his command, but from her will. He had been furious. He had been intrigued. He had been, for the first time in his life, completely and utterly confused. After that, the void changes its tactic. It stops trying to tear him apart and starts trying to corrupt him. It whispers promises in his ear: power, eternal life, the ability to bring back everyone he has ever lost. It shows him visions of his old life, the lavish parties, the servants bowing, the wine flowing like rivers. It shows him the face of his mother, who died when he was 12, her eyes soft and loving. "Just let go," the void whispers. "Become one with me. You will never be alone again." The Bone King closes his eyes. He remembers the girl's steady gaze. He remembers her hand on the skeleton's skull. He remembers the way she had said, "Rest now," not as a command, but as a gift. "No," he says, "I am not yours to take." He opens his mouth. He breathes in the void. The darkness floods his lungs, his throat, his stomach. It burns. It freezes. It feels like dying and being born at the same time. He swallows it. He swallows more. He does not stop until the void around him shrinks, its howl turning into a whimper. He is not becoming part of the void. The void is becoming part of him. Meanwhile, in the mortal world, the High Priestess cannot sleep. She sits at her desk, the heart of the world glowing softly beside her. She traces its surface with her fingers, feeling the warmth pulse beneath her skin. She has read every ancient text in the cathedral's library. She has consulted every oracle, every seer, every half-mad hermit who claims to speak for the forgotten gods. All of them say the same thing: the Bone King is gone. The void is sealed. The world is safe. But she knows they are wrong. She heard his voice in her dream. She felt him. The void is not sealed. It is feeding on him. And he is feeding on it. She looks at the heart, and it pulses once, warm and golden and alive. "Wait for me," he had said. She waits. Next, the Bone King begins to change. His bones, once white and brittle, turn black. They grow denser, heavier, as if infused with the weight of 1,000 dying stars. His eye sockets, once empty, now glow with a golden fire that casts no shadows. He stands up from his throne of skulls, and the void screams in protest. It tries to push him down, to drag him back into the abyss. But he does not fall. He walks. He walks through the void like a man walking through a garden. He takes a step, and the darkness parts. He takes another step, and the darkness tries to close again. He reaches out, grabs a handful of the void, and shoves it into his mouth. He chews. He swallows. He feels it become part of him. He is becoming something new, something that will change everything. However, the void has not given up. It has been here since before the first star was born, before the first god opened their eyes. It has consumed civilizations, devoured pantheons, erased entire timelines from existence. It will not be beaten by a single necromancer, no matter how hungry he becomes. So it changes its tactic again. It stops whispering promises. It starts showing him the truth. The void opens a window into the mortal world. The Bone King sees the village where the girl lives. He sees her walking through the market, buying bread from a baker, laughing with a friend. He sees her scarred hands, her steady gaze, her stubborn smile. He watches her for a long time, and the void whispers, "She is the only one who ever saw you. She is the only one who ever looked at you and did not flinch." "I know," the Bone King says. "Then come back," the void says. "Open the gate. Bring her here. We can share her. We can make her immortal. We can make her one of us." The Bone King is silent for a long moment. His golden eyes flicker. His black fingers twitch. He wants to say yes. He wants to see her again, to touch her hand, to hear her voice. He wants to be seen, but he remembers her steady gaze. He remembers the way she had knelt down, touched the skeleton's skull, and whispered, "Rest now." She had given the skeleton peace. She had not tried to control it. She had not tried to destroy it. She had simply given it rest. She would not want to be brought here. She would not want to be shared. She would want him to rest, too. "No," he says again. "She is not yours to take. And neither am I." He opens his mouth. He breathes in the window. The vision of the girl dissolves, and the void screams in frustration. The Bone King swallows the last of it, and for a moment, the void goes silent. But the silence does not last. The High Priestess wakes in the middle of the night, drenched in sweat. She hears a voice, his voice, whispering in her ear, "The void is hungry. It is feeding on me, but I am feeding on it, too. I am becoming something new, something that will change everything. Wait for me." She looks at the heart on her nightstand. It pulses once, warm, golden, alive. She reaches for it, her trembling fingers closing around its surface. She feels a jolt of energy, a connection, a thread linking her to him. She closes her eyes, and she sees what he sees. The void is endless. It is dark. It is hungry. But at its center, a single point of golden light burns brighter than any sun. The Bone King stands in that light, his black bones gleaming, his golden eyes fixed on something she cannot see. He is not fighting the void. He is not running from it. He is eating it. And he is winning. But the void has one last card to play. It reaches into the deepest, darkest corner of itself, and it pulls out a memory. A memory that does not belong to the Bone King. A memory that belongs to the girl. The girl with the scarred hands. The girl with the steady gaze. The girl who refused to fear him. The void shows the Bone King her past. He sees her as a child, playing in a field of flowers. He sees her mother holding her hand, teaching her how to weave a basket. He sees her father, a blacksmith, lifting her onto his shoulders. He sees her laughing, her eyes full of light. Then he sees the night the void first touched her. It was 5 years ago. A rift opened in the sky above her village. Shadows poured out, twisting and screaming, devouring everything in their path. Her mother was taken first, then her father, then her friends. She ran, but the shadows caught her, dragged her into the void, held her there for 3 days. When she came back, her hands were scarred, her eyes were darker, and she could not remember what she had seen. But the void remembered. And now, the void shows the Bone King the truth. The girl is not just a survivor. She is a fragment of the void itself. A piece of the abyss that was torn away, shaped into a human form, and sent into the world to wait, to watch, to open the door when the time was right. The Bone King's golden eyes flicker. His black hands clench into fists. He feels the void's hunger surge, feeding on his shock, his anger, his fear. "She is not a fragment," he says. "She is a person. She is a door," the void hisses. "And you are the key. Open her. Open yourself. Let us in." The Bone King stands in the heart of the void, his black bones trembling, his golden eyes burning. He looks at the memory of the girl, her scarred hands, her steady gaze, her stubborn smile. He remembers the way she had looked at him and said, "You are not a monster. You are just lost." He closes his eyes. He breathes in the void. He swallows it. He swallows the memory. He swallows the truth. He swallows everything. And then he opens his eyes. If she is a door, he says, then I will break the lock. He raises his hand. He summons every skeleton he has ever raised, every spirit he has ever commanded, every piece of death that has ever answered his call. They pour out of him, a tide of bone and shadow, and they begin to push against the void. The void screams. It fights. It tries to devour him again. But the Bone King is no longer just a necromancer. He is no longer just a prisoner. He is the devourer of darkness, the consumer of abyss, the eater of the void. He takes a step forward. The void shudders. He takes another step, and the darkness cracks. He takes a third step, and the crack widens, revealing a sliver of light, the light of the mortal world, of the village, of the girl. He reaches for it. His black fingers brush against the light. He feels the warmth of the sun, the breeze of the wind, the heartbeat of the world. And then he feels her hand. The girl is standing on the other side of the crack. Her scarred hands are pressed against the light, her eyes wide with recognition. She does not flinch. She does not run. She looks at him, the Bone King, the devourer of the void, the monster who is becoming something new, and she smiles. I knew you would come back, she says. The Bone King opens his mouth to speak, but the void does not give him time. It surges forward, wrapping around the crack, trying to seal it shut. The girl's hand slips away. The light fades. The Bone King is pulled back into the darkness, his black bones rattling, his golden eyes blazing. But he heard her voice. He saw her smile, and he knows what he must do. He turns to face the void. He opens his mouth. He breathes it in, and he begins to eat. The story is not over. Subscribe for more epic manhwa recaps. The next chapter reveals the truth about the Bone King's transformation, and the secret of the girl who refused to fear him, even in the heart of the void. Asterisk asterisk. The Bone King's jaws close around a tendril of the void. The taste is not rot, not emptiness. It is memory. He chews, swallows, and feels the fragment of the girl's world dissolve into his own. His golden eyes flicker. The void screams, a sound that is not sound, a vibration that shakes the bones of the universe. But the Bone King does not stop. He opens his mouth wider, pulls more of the dark substance into himself, and feels his own form begin to shift. But to understand how the Bone King, once a spoiled noble named Rael, dares to consume the void itself, we go back. Rael stands in the throne room of the fallen kingdom of Dusk Hollow. The air is thick with the scent of old blood and crushed marble. Before him, a mirror of black glass reflects not his face, but the face of the man he used to be, soft, petulant, draped in silk and disdain. That man is dead. The Bone King wears his bones, and those bones now ache with the power of a realm that should not exist. Next, Rael remembers the moment he first learned the truth. He had been summoned by the Council of the Dead, a gathering of lich lords and skeletal generals who served the first necromancer. They had told him the void was not a monster. It was a wound, a tear in the fabric of reality, left behind when the old gods died. And every soul that fell into that wound became part of it, feeding its hunger, making it stronger. The only way to close it was to consume it from within, to become the wound itself, and then to heal it. Rael had laughed. He had called them mad. But now, as the void wraps around his ribs and tries to pull him apart, he understands. The council had been preparing him for this since the day he died. Every soul he raised, every bone he animated, every enemy he devoured, it was all training. Training to eat the void. However, the girl in the memory, the one who smiled, she is not part of the council's plan. She is something else. A variable. A ghost in the machine. And as the Bone King continues to consume the void, he feels her presence flicker at the edges of his consciousness, like a candle in a storm. Meanwhile, in the world above, the girl stands alone on a cliff overlooking the chasm where the Bone King fell. Her name is Lyra. She is the last daughter of a forgotten line, the keepers of the gate. Her family guarded the crack in the world for centuries, sealing it with blood and prayer. But the void grew too strong. The keepers fell. Lyra was the only survivor, and she has been waiting for someone to come back through the crack, someone strong enough to face what lies inside. She touches the scar on her palm, the mark of the keeper's binding. The mark glows faintly, pulsing in rhythm with the Bone King's heartbeat. They are connected now. She can feel him inside the void, feel him chewing through the darkness, feel him growing. And she smiles again, because she knows what he does not. The void is not the only thing inside that crack. There is something older, something that has been waiting for a king. After that, the Bone King's jaws ache. His ribs crack. His golden eyes dim. He has consumed half of the void's mass, but the other half is fighting back. It twists into shapes, hands, faces, mouths that scream in languages that predate the stars. They claw at his skull, trying to pry him open, trying to spill the souls he has collected. But Rael is no longer a spoiled noble. He is a necromancer who has spent lifetimes learning to hold on. He clenches his jaw. He swallows again. And he feels something new. A thread. A connection. Warm, golden, alive. It pulls at his chest, and he follows it. The thread leads him deeper into the void, past the screaming mouths and grasping hands, to a place where the darkness is thin and the light of the old world still flickers. There, in the center of the wound, lies a skeleton. Not human. Too large, too ancient, its bones carved with runes that hum with power. The skeleton of a god. The one who died to create the crack in the first place. The Bone King reaches out. His fingers brush the god's ribcage. And the skeleton opens its eyes. The eyes are not hollow. They are golden, just like his. And they are looking at him with recognition. You have eaten enough, the god's voice says, not through a mouth, but directly into the Bone King's mind. Now you must become the wound. Or heal it. The choice is yours. The Bone King does not answer. He looks at the thread that ties him to Lyra. He feels her heartbeat, steady and strong. He feels her hope. And he understands that the choice is not his alone. He turns back to the god skeleton. He opens his mouth. And he begins to eat the god. The void screams again, louder this time, more desperate. It knows what he is doing. It lashes out, trying to tear the skeleton away, but the Bone King is faster. He consumes the ribs, the spine, the skull. Each bone carries a memory. The god's birth, its reign, its death. The god had chosen to fall, to crack the world, to create the void as a prison for something worse. Something that had been hunting the stars. And now that something is free, the Bone King swallows the last bone. His body convulses. His bones shatter and reform. His golden eyes turn black, then white, then gold again. He is no longer just the Bone King. He is the wound heir, the one who carries the god's power and the god's burden. And he feels it, the thing that the god imprisoned. It is not a monster. It is a silence, a stillness, a hunger that makes the void look like a whisper. And it is coming. Lyra feels it too. She falls to her knees on the cliff, clutching her chest. The mark on her palm burns. She sees flashes of the Bone King's vision, a wall of nothing, a void within the void, a mouth that does not need teeth. And she knows that the real battle has not even begun. The Bone King climbs out of the crack. His form is different now, taller, more skeletal, but with veins of gold threading through his bones. He steps onto the cliff, and Lyra looks up at him. She does not flinch. She does not fear. You ate the god, she says. It is not a question. I ate the prison, the Bone King replies. His voice is deeper, layered with echoes. The prisoner is free. Lyra stands. She touches his golden veins. They pulse under her fingers. Then we need a new prison, she says. And I know where to find one. Next, she leads him through the ruins of Dusk Hollow, past the bones of her ancestors, to a hidden chamber beneath the throne room. The chamber is sealed with a door made of light. Lyra places her hand on it, and the light parts. Inside, there is a pedestal. On the pedestal, a crown. Not gold, not silver, made of black bone, carved with the same runes as the god's skeleton. The crown of the wound heir, Lyra says, forged from the god's own ribs. It will allow you to control the void, to shape it, to use it as a weapon. But once you wear it, you can never take it off. You will become the prison yourself. The Bone King looks at the crown. He feels the silence approaching. He feels the hunger of the thing that was freed. He has no time. He picks up the crown. He places it on his head. The crown sinks into his skull. His golden eyes flare. The mark on Lyra's palm glows brighter, and she gasps. A connection snaps into place, deeper than before. She can feel his thoughts, his memories, his pain. She can feel the void inside him, now a tool, now a part of him. And she can feel the silence, too, pressing against his mind, trying to break through. But the Bone King does not break. He straightens his spine. He turns to face the horizon, where the sky is beginning to crack, where the silence is bleeding through, where the real enemy waits. We go now, he says. Lyra nods. She draws a blade from her belt, a blade made of the same light as the door, the blade of a keeper. We go together, she says. The Bone King looks at her. For a moment, his golden eyes soften. He remembers the spoiled noble, the one who never fought for anything, the one who died alone and afraid. That man is gone. In his place is a king. A wound there. A prison. And he is not afraid. He raises his hand. The void swirls around his fingers, obedient, alive. He points it at the crack in the sky. Then let us end this, he says. He steps forward. But the silence does not wait. It crashes down like a wave, swallowing the horizon, swallowing the sun. The Bone King and Lyra are thrown apart. The crown screams in his mind. The mark on her palm burns black. And in the heart of the silence, a figure takes shape. It is not a monster. It is a man. Tall, pale, with eyes that are empty sockets. He wears robes made of shadow. He smiles, a smile that does not reach his hollow gaze. Hello, little king, he says. I am the one your god imprisoned. And I have been waiting for you to grow strong enough to free me. The Bone King's bones rattle. His golden eyes lock onto the figure. He does not speak. The figure laughs. It is a sound like breaking glass. You think the crown will save you? You think the girl will help you? I have eaten 1,000 kings. I have devoured 1,000 worlds. You are nothing but a meal that took too long to cook. Lyra gasps. She tries to raise her blade, but the silence holds her arm. The figure turns to her, and his hollow eyes widen with recognition. A keeper. The last one. I remember your family. They begged. They screamed. They died. And you will be the sweetest of all. The Bone King moves. He throws himself between Lyra and the figure. The void explodes from his chest, forming a barrier of darkness and gold. The figure slams against it, and the barrier cracks. You cannot protect her, the figure hisses. You cannot protect anyone. You are just a boy who died in a ditch. You are just a skeleton wearing a crown. The Bone King's grip on the void tightens. He feels Lyra's hand on his back. He feels her heartbeat. He feels her hope. And he remembers the girl in the memory, the one who smiled, the one who said, I knew you would come back. He smiles now, a skeletal smile, but real. I am not just a skeleton, he says. I am the Bone King, and I have eaten the god who imprisoned you. I have eaten the void. I have eaten the light and the dark, and I will eat you. The figure stops laughing. The Bone King opens his mouth. The void pours out, not as a weapon, but as an appetite. The figure tries to retreat, but the silence is slow. It is not used to being hunted. The Bone King takes a step forward, then another. He is no longer running. He is no longer defending. He is feeding. The figure screams. The sky cracks wider. The world trembles. But the Bone King does not stop. He opens his jaws, and he takes the first bite. The story is not over. Subscribe for more epic manhwa recaps. The next chapter reveals the cost of the Bone King's hunger, and the true nature of the girl who refuses to let him fall alone. The Bone King's jaws close around the figure's shoulder. The taste is not flesh, not blood, it is memory. 1,000 years of imprisonment. The cold weight of divine chains. The rage of a god who chose silence over surrender. The figure convulses, its form unraveling like threads pulled from a tapestry. The void inside the Bone King pulses, hungry for more. But to understand how we arrived at this moment, how a man who once commanded armies of the dead now stands in the heavens, devouring a god, we go back. The Bone King, still known in his heart as Kale, stands on a shattered cliff overlooking the abyss. His army of skeletons waits behind him, their eye sockets glowing with pale blue fire. He has just learned the truth. The god who imprisoned him in the cycle of death and rebirth is not the only deity. There are others, and one of them, the one called the Silent Watcher, has been watching him since the beginning. Next, Kale turns to his closest ally, a girl with silver hair and eyes that shift like storm clouds. She is the only one who remembers his past lives. Her name is Lyra, though she has worn many names across the ages. She does not speak. She only nods. That nod means, I will follow you into the mouth of oblivion. After that, Kale raises his hand. The skeletons march. They do not tire. They do not question. They are extensions of his will, and his will is simple. Find the Silent Watcher. End the cycle. However, the path is not straight. The abyss twists. Reality bends. Kale feels the pull of the void, not the one he now wields, but the one that once consumed him in a forgotten life. He clenches his fist. The memory fades. Meanwhile, Lyra stops. She touches a crack in the air. The crack widens, and through it, Kale sees a room. A throne room. A throne of bones. And on that throne, a figure made of static and silence. The Silent Watcher. Kale steps through the crack. The skeletons follow. The room is vast, a cathedral of forgotten prayers. The Silent Watcher does not move. It does not speak. It simply is, a void of presence, a hole in reality where sound dies. Kale speaks first. You imprison me. The silent watcher's head tilts. A voice that is not a voice answers. Asterisk. I gave you purpose. Asterisk. You gave me chains. The silent watcher rises. The throne crumbles. The figure is tall, too tall, its limbs stretching into the unseen. Asterisk. You were a spoiled noble. A boy who never earned power. I gave you death. I gave you rebirth. I made you a king. Asterisk. Kale's skeletons raise their weapons. But Kale stops them. He feels the truth in those words. He was a waste. A failure. He squandered his first life. But that life is over. This life is his. He says, you made me a weapon. Now I choose the target. The silent watcher laughs, a sound like breaking glass. Asterisk. You cannot eat what has no form. Asterisk. Kale smiles. I already have. He opens his palm. The void swirls inside it, not the silence of the watcher, but the appetite of the Bone King. He has consumed gods before. He has consumed the void itself. The silent watcher does not know this. The silent watcher has been watching, but it has not been listening. The battle begins not with a clash, but with a question. The silent watcher raises a hand. The skeletons freeze. They are not dead, they are unmade. Their bones dissolve into dust. Kale feels the loss like a limb severed. But he does not stop. He lunges. The silent watcher is fast. Too fast. It appears behind Kale, a hand on his shoulder. The touch is cold. It is the cold of a forgotten star. Asterisk. You are still mortal in your core. Asterisk. Kale feels his bones ache. His flesh numbs. The silent watcher is trying to erase him. Not kill, but unexist. But Kale has been erased before. He has been forgotten. And he has returned. He turns. He grabs the watcher's wrist. The void in his palm flares. The watcher's form ripples. For the first time, Kale sees fear, not in the watcher's face, for it has none, but in the way the air around it retreats. He pulls. The watcher stumbles forward. Its form stretches, distorted, like a painting dragged through water. Kale opens his mouth. The void pours out, not as a weapon, as a hunger. The watcher screams, a silent scream that shatters the throne room. The walls crack. The sky beyond the cracks is not the sky. It is a wound, a bleeding wound in the fabric of existence. Kale does not stop. He bites. The watcher's essence floods into him, cold, vast, ancient. It is not a meal. It is a revelation. He sees the beginning, the first gods, the first voids, the first hunger. He sees himself, not as Kale, not as the Bone King, but as a seed planted in the soil of a dead universe, waiting to sprout. The watcher's form collapses. Kale stands alone in the ruins of the throne room. His skeletons are gone. Lyra is gone. He is alone, but he is not empty. He looks at his hands. They are no longer bone. They are not flesh. They are potential. The void hums inside him, waiting. Next, he steps out of the throne room. The abyss is gone. The sky is gone. There is only a white void, a canvas untouched. He walks. There is no ground, but he walks. Each step creates a ripple. Each ripple reveals a memory. He sees Lyra. She is standing in a field of flowers. The flowers are made of light. She turns. Her eyes are not silver. They are gold. She says, "You did it." He wants to speak, but the words do not come. He is too full, too changed. She walks toward him. She places a hand on his chest. Her touch is warm, but the cost is not paid. He looks down. His chest is transparent. Inside, the void churns. And inside the void, he sees something. A face. The face of the silent watcher. It is not dead. It is digesting. Lyra says, "It will take time, and time is not on our side." After that, the white void shatters. They fall, not through air, but through layers of reality. Kale sees worlds, thousands of them. Some are burning, some are frozen, some are living, and one is familiar. His original world. The world where he was a spoiled noble. He lands hard. Dirt, grass, a sky that is blue, not bleeding. He is in a forest. Lyra is beside him, gasping. Her silver hair is tangled. Her dress is torn. He asks, "Where are we?" She points. Beyond the trees, a city. A city he knows. The capital. The palace. He is home. But home does not welcome him. The city is in chaos. People run. Guards shout. And in the sky, a second sun burns. It is not the sun. It is an eye. The eye of a god he has not yet consumed. Lyra says, "The watcher was not alone. There are others. They felt you eat one of their own. They are coming." Kale stands. He is tired. He has eaten a god. He has crossed realities. He has returned to the place where his story began. But the story is not over. The eye in the sky blinks. A voice thunders, ancient and furious. Asterisk, Bone King. You have stolen from the Pantheon. Return what is not yours, or we will unmake everything you have ever loved. Asterisk. Kale looks at Lyra. She looks at him. She does not flinch. He says, I will not return anything. The eye narrows. The ground trembles. The sky cracks again. But Kale is not afraid. He has eaten the void. He has eaten the silent watcher. He has eaten light and dark. And he is still hungry. He steps forward. Lyra follows. They walk toward the palace. The people scatter. The guards do not stop them. They cannot. The Bone King's aura is too heavy. It crushes the air. At the palace gates, a figure waits. A woman. Golden armor. A crown of thorns. She is the queen who exiled him in his first life. She is old now. Her eyes are tired. She says, Kale. He stops. I know what you have become. I have seen it in my dreams. You are not here to save us. He says, I am not. She steps aside. The gates open. Behind her, the throne room waits. And on the throne, a new king sits. A boy. Young. Frightened. His brother. The brother who inherited everything. Kale's hand twitches. The void stirs. Lyra touches his arm. Not yet, she whispers. We need allies. Not corpses. He listens. He trusts her. She has never led him wrong. He turns away from the throne. He walks into the city. The eye in the sky follows. But the eye does not strike. Not yet. It is waiting. Watching. Learning. Kale finds an inn. He sits. Lyra sits across from him. The innkeeper brings food, hands shaking. Kale does not eat. He does not need to. But he pretends, for the sake of normalcy. Lyra says, we need to find the others. Others. The ones who escaped the cycle. The ones the gods forgot. There are more like you. More who have consumed divinity. Kale's eyes widen. He is not alone. After that, a knock at the door. The innkeeper opens it. A figure stands in the rain, a man with no shadow. His eyes are black. His smile is too wide. He says, I felt you arrive. I came to welcome you. Kale stands. The void rises. The man laughs. Relax. I am not your enemy. I am your predecessor. He steps inside. The door closes. The rain outside stops. The eye in the sky blinks once, then vanishes. The man sits. He says, you ate the silent watcher. Impressive. But you did not finish the meal. Kale asks, what do you mean? The man leans forward. The watcher's essence is still alive inside you. It is waiting, plotting. If you do not consume it fully, it will consume you. He holds out his hand. In his palm, a shard of darkness. I can help you. But first, you must trust me. Kale looks at Lyra. She nods. He takes the shard. The darkness floods him. He sees the watcher's face again. It is screaming. It is begging. It is laughing. And then it is silent. Kale gasps. The man smiles. Good. Now you are ready. Meanwhile, the palace bells ring. The eye returns. This time, it is not alone. 3 eyes. 3 gods. The man stands. They have arrived. The pantheon of the forgotten. They want you dead. Kale says, I want them eaten. The man laughs. Then let us begin. He opens the door. The rain has stopped. The sky is a canvas of eyes. The gods are watching. Kale steps out. Lyra beside him. The man behind him. The first god descends. A serpent of stars. Its voice is music and madness. Asterisk, Bone King. You have defied the natural order. You have consumed what should not be consumed. Surrender, and we will make your death quick. Asterisk. Kale raises his hand. The void swirls. He says, I have eaten the void. I have eaten the silent watcher. I have eaten light and dark. He pauses. And I will eat you. The serpent hisses. The sky tears. The battle begins. But the story is not over. Subscribe for more epic manhwa recaps. The next chapter reveals the price of the Bone King's defiance, and the truth behind the man with no shadow. The serpent of stars lunges. Its body is a river of collapsing galaxies, each scale a dying sun. Kale does not flinch. He raises a single finger, and the void answers. A black tear in reality that swallows the serpent's head whole. The creature thrashes, its tail whipping through a mountain peak, shattering stone into dust. Lyra steps forward, her hand glowing with a pale blue light. She chants under her breath, and the ground beneath the serpent erupts into a forest of crystalline spears. The beast is impaled, pinned, and still it does not die. But to understand how Kale reached this moment, how a spoiled noble who once spent his days drinking and gambling now stands as the Bone King, devourer of gods, we go back. The man behind Kale has no shadow. His name is forgotten. He speaks in whispers that do not echo. They will not stop with one, he says. The gods are a pantheon of hunger. They will send more. Kale does not look back. Then I will eat them too. The serpent dissolves into motes of light, but the sky does not heal. More eyes blink open, hundreds, thousands, each one a different color, each one a different god. The air grows heavy, thick with divine pressure. Lyra gasps, clutching her chest. The weight of 1,000 gazes crushes the air from her lungs. Kale wraps a tendril of void around her. The pressure lessens. Next, a second god descends. This one is a woman of obsidian, her hair a waterfall of molten gold. She walks on air, each step leaving a burning footprint. Her voice is silk over broken glass. Asterisk, you have eaten the void. You have eaten the silent watcher. You have eaten light and dark, but you have not eaten despair. Asterisk, she smiles, and the smile is a wound. Asterisk, I am despair. I have always been inside you. Since the moment you were born into a world that saw you as worthless. Since the moment you died in that first life, alone and forgotten. I am the echo of every failure you have ever known. Asterisk. Kale's jaw tightens. For a moment, his hand trembles. The void flickers. The man with no shadow steps forward, but Kale stops him with a gesture. No, Kale says. She is mine. He walks toward the goddess of despair. Each step is heavy, as though wading through tar. The memories rise, his first death, the betrayal, the cold nothingness. But he does not stop. He reaches her, and he places a hand on her cheek. She laughs, thinking she has won. Then he opens his mouth. He does not bite. He inhales. The void pulls, and the goddess of despair screams. Her form unravels, threads of black smoke and golden light streaming into Kale's throat. He swallows. The taste is ash and regret, but he does not choke. He stands taller, and the eyes in the sky blink in unison, surprise, anger, fear. However, the pantheon does not retreat. Instead, they descend together. A rain of divine forms. A lion with a mane of thunder, a woman with wings of stained glass, a child whose laughter makes the ground split. They do not speak. They attack as one. Lyra summons a barrier of frost, but it shatters under the first blow. The man with no shadow moves like smoke, weaving. The goddess of despair dissolves into Kale's lungs, and for a single, suspended heartbeat, the world holds its breath. The eyes in the sky flicker, then narrow. They do not retreat. Instead, the pantheon descends together. A rain of divine forms crashes down. A lion with a mane of crackling thunder, a woman whose wings shimmer like stained glass catching fire, a child whose laughter splits the ground into jagged canyons. They do not speak. They attack as one. Lyra summons a barrier of frost, but it shatters under the first blow. The man with no shadow moves like smoke, weaving between claws and towel.